the most extraordinary people who ever lived. A world as vast and unpredictable as ours has always given birth to individuals who don't quite fit into the pattern we call normal. Their lives often carried unimaginable challenges, yet at the same time an odd kind of brilliance, a uniqueness that made them unforgettable. And before we continue, I want to say something up front. Everything you're about to hear is shared with respect. These people endured hardships most of us can't begin to imagine, and this video exists to tell their stories, not to diminish them. I'm truly grateful that you're here and that you trusted me enough to click on this video. So let's travel back in time together and meet 5 people whose existence still leaves the world in awe. Joseph Merrick, the Elephant Man. Joseph Carey Merrick, known throughout history as the Elephant Man, was born in Leicester in 1862. He entered the world as an ordinary child. No deformities, no signs of what would come. But when he reached the age of 5, his body began to change. Bone began to grow uncontrollably on the right side of his face and body. His skin thickened into heavy folds, tumors developed along his limbs, and his head eventually reached nearly 90 centimeters in circumference, far larger than a normal adult skull. Unable to find work and abandoned by many around him, Merrick was eventually taken in by a sideshow manager and exhibited as a living curiosity. People paid to stare at him, laugh at him, or whisper in horror. Yet Joseph was known for being gentle, polite, and surprisingly articulate. Behind his physical suffering was a deeply sensitive soul. His life changed dramatically when Dr. Frederick Treves encountered him and arranged for him to live safely within the London hospital. There, Joseph finally found something he had been denied his entire life: dignity. He passed away at just 27. Some believe his head, far too heavy, caused him to suffocate while sleeping. Others suspect he simply could no longer endure the weight his body forced him to carry. Today, many experts believe he suffered from Proteus syndrome, an incredibly rare genetic disorder with fewer than 50 known cases in recorded history. Edward Mordake. Edward Mordrake's story is perhaps the most haunting of them all, a tale that blurs the line between medical mystery and folklore. Born in the 19th century to a wealthy English family, Edward possessed brilliant intelligence and a gentle temperament. But on the back of his head grew a second face, a distorted, silent mirror of his own. Historical descriptions claim the second face could smile, sneer, and move its lips. Whether these accounts were exaggerated or based on real muscle contractions, no one can say with certainty. But what is clear is that Edward lived with deep, consuming misery. He avoided society, spending his days studying and playing music in isolation. And according to those who lived near him, the second face seemed to become active at night, twitching or grimacing as Edward tried to sleep, leading to countless terrifying rumors about whispered voices urging him toward violence. Edward begged doctors to remove it, but the medical risks were far too high. At just 23, tormented and exhausted, he ended his life. A letter was found in which he pleaded for the demon face to be removed from his skull before burial, and according to record keepers of the era, the doctors honored his wish. Although some aspects of his story may have grown into legend over time, the emotional weight of it remains undeniable. A brilliant young man trapped in a body that felt like a prison, Prince Randian. Born in 1871 in British Guiana, Prince Randian came into the world without arms or legs, a condition called tetra amelia syndrome. And yet, what he achieved in his lifetime is nothing short of astonishing. After being brought to America in his late teens, he was taken in by P.T. Barnum's famous circus. What captivated audiences wasn't pity, it was his unbelievable skill. Randian could shave himself, write, paint, and most famously, roll and light a cigarette using only his lips and jaw. He did all of this with precision and speed that stunned crowds. In the 1932 film Freaks, he appeared alongside Schlitzie, performing one of his cigarette tricks. Even today, that scene remains one of the most memorable moments of early cinema. Randian embraced performing and seemed genuinely proud of his abilities. For many, he represented what human resilience looks like when faced with impossible odds. He passed away in 1934, leaving behind a legacy that continues to awe anyone who hears his story. Charles Stratton, Tom Thumb. Charles Stratton was born in 1838 and was perfectly average in size, until he reached the age of 3, when his growth simply stopped. He remained just over 60 centimeters tall for many years, eventually growing to around 1 meter in adulthood. This baffled doctors of the time and remains unexplained even today. P.T. Barnum, recognizing Charles's unique charm, took him under his wing at a young age. Under the stage name Tom Thumb, Charles became a global sensation. Unlike many performers with unusual conditions, Charles was beloved not for spectacle, but for his talent. He danced, sang, performed comedy, and entertained both royalty and common folk alike. He married Lavinia Warren, who also had dwarfism and was equally admired. Their wedding caused such excitement that thousands attended their public reception. Charles lived a remarkably full life, traveling the world, performing to packed theaters, and earning financial success few in his era achieved. He died young, at 45, from a stroke, and his wife passed shortly after. More than 20,000 people attended his funeral, a testament to the joy he brought to so many. Schlitzie. We begin with one of the most iconic figures ever associated with rare genetic conditions, a performer known to the world simply as Schlitzie. Many of you may even recognize his features. The character Pepper in American Horror Story was inspired directly by him. His real name was Simon Metz, born in either 1901 or 1902, though even this remains debated. He had microcephaly, a condition in which the skull and brain fail to fully develop, leaving the head significantly smaller than average. During the early 20th century, medical knowledge was painfully limited, and people like Schlitzie were often sensationalized. Some newspapers even described him as having Aztec ancestry, or alien traits, bizarre claims that reflected the ignorance of the era. Despite all this, Schlitzie was known to be joyful, affectionate, and incredibly eager to perform. He had the body of a grown man, but the voice and mental development of a small child, and crowds adored him for his innocence and bright spirit. He spent much of his life in traveling circuses and vaudeville shows, performing simple routines, dancing, laughing, and waving at audiences. And unlike many performers of that era who were mistreated, Schlitzie was often surrounded by caretakers who genuinely loved him. He even appeared in the legendary 1932 film Freaks, which is still discussed today for its controversial but historic cast of real-life sideshow performers. Against all medical expectations, he lived to be nearly 70 years old, passing away in 1971, a peaceful ending to a life filled with unimaginable obstacles, but also warmth and kindness.